Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Maya. I'm coming to you from Germany. This is the podcast about textile arts, mostly knitting, a little bit of crochet and something else, hopefully also more sewing in the future. I haven't been filming for 3 months now, so if you are back after this break, welcome back. If you are new, warm welcome to you. Basically, the reason was that my life was quite intense. A lot of things were going on. There were some holidays, some trips in between, and an insane amount of work. And practically the reason why I haven't been podcasting is that I didn't have much to show because practically I had no time to knit. And yeah, I also had my colonoscopy examination. I don't know why I feel that I have to share this with the world, but the reason was, it's not that I was afraid or anything, but the reason was that I was quite tense and nervous because of it the weeks before. But it went fine, you know, in Germany they just put you to sleep, and the thing that I remember is that I just took 4 deep breaths from the oxygen mask, and then the next thing I remember was people saying to me, it's over. So, but it was nice, let's put that behind. So how I'm going to structure this episode today, it's the episode number 8, I think, and I was thinking about starting from what I'm wearing, because it is chronologically the last thing I made, and I want to do the thing backwards from now. It's August to May, but actually I'm going to start from this bag here, and if you can see, it says Wolle Festival, and it is the yarn fair that I visited in Düsseldorf this weekend. It was my first such visit to this event in Düsseldorf, or Düsseldorf as we say here. It was a very, very hot day. We had a terrible draft here in Europe this summer, and I almost didn't want to go because I didn't want to go to the town in the heat, but then my husband persuaded me. But he's also the reason why I didn't stay long, because he was waiting for me. I'm sorry, I'm keeping knocking this camera. He was waiting for me with the dog outside, and I didn't want them to wait too long in that heat. And the event was hosted in a building near the river Rhine, and then I saw how the river almost disappeared. It was so the level of the river is so low that the middle pillar of the bridge is standing on the dry land. I've never seen that in my life here in Germany before. So yeah, that is the problem also for the transport, because many ships cannot load their full cargo, and that's going to increase the prices further, and the inflation is going to be higher. But let's not talk about bad things now. Let's talk about the goodies in this bag. So I didn't make a lot of acquisitions, because I was constantly reminding myself that I have enough yarn and that I shouldn't buy too much, and especially shouldn't buy things without having a specific project in mind. Because what I tend to do is I tend to buy a skein or 2 of the yarn that I like, and then I don't know what to do with it. And particularly because I don't have the quantity for the project I would like to do, and that's particularly I'm knitting sweaters and tees, and not that many accessories. So then I am left with these odd balls of yarns, which I don't know what to do with. So I had to constantly remind myself, don't buy too much, don't buy too much. But also these hand-dyed yarns can be quite expensive. So if you calculate that the skein was in between 20 to 30 euros, and I would need 4 to 5 for a sweater, so it would cost me in between 100 and 150 euros. So it's a little bit pricey. Of course, now and then you should afford something more luxurious. But for the time being, I don't need that, and I'm looking to save a little bit of money. So the first thing I bought, and every visitor got this bag. I read in the website that only the first visitors are going to receive the bag, but it seemed a certain number or so. But I came the next day. It was the whole weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and I came back Sunday. It was already, I think, around noon or afternoon, and they still had these bags. So I assume that the number of visitors was not that high. So yeah, I bought this beautiful, beautiful braid of, what is it? It's 70% merino wool, 30% nylon, and it's coming from Das Mondschaf. This is the German indie dyer and yarn company, which I heard of from the YouTuber who has a very nice knitting channel that I follow. It's Julia. She is from Germany, but is now in UK, and she has a podcast called Happy Knitting, and she was in her previous episodes she was talking a lot about this yarn, and I really liked it. So this is this braid that I'm going to spin. Look at these beautiful, beautiful purples, a little bit of greens, pinks. It's really nice, and it is 125 grams. Not sure what to do with it. We'll see when the yarn will finally come out, but I think it's going to be lovely, lovely. It can be socks, you know, it has nylon content in it, so maybe a nice pair of winter socks. Or maybe a shawl, we'll see. It's quite soft. It's really nice to the touch. I wanted another one, the same one, but they have had only this one left. So yeah, that's the only thing I bought from the Mondschaf, but I wanted also a yarn, but when I calculated, I said that would be too much. And then I also bought these two skeins. It is the last thing. It is called Zauber Kunst Garne, so it's like a magic art yarns translated. It is owned by Stephanie Zander. She also has a web shop, and what drawn me to her stand was the same pattern that I'm wearing now. It's quite recognizable. It's Ranunculus. She was wearing Ranunculus, and I was just about to finish mine, this one, and then I recognized, oh, I'm just working on one myself, and she was, oh yeah, I made also many, and this is my fourth one. And I asked her what she was wearing this light off-white Ranunculus Tee, and I was asking her what was the yarn, and she showed me the yarns, and she showed me some other models, and then I asked how many skeins did she use, and she said just 2 for the short sleeve tee, and this is incredibly soft. So I decided that I'm going to do the same tee, and this is non-superwash, called Summer Baby. The color is Zauberstaub, which is like a magic powder. It's 50% baby alpaca, 25% linen, 25% silk, and it's 400 meters in 100 grams. and hand wash is recommended. It is amazing. It's really so nice and soft, and I think that it's almost 50% plant fibers, so no, 25% linen, 25% silk, so it is going to be a cooler for the summer. So I'm looking forward to starting this project again. And there were some other things that I got in this bag. There is this recycled cotton ball. It is called Kremke Sol Wool Karma Cotton, 70% cotton, 30% polyamide. It's also a German producer, 105 meters for 50 grams. And this greenish color, yeah. And then there is pom-pom maker. I love it. There was a keychain. There was this needle measures, so you can measure the size of the needles. I love it. I very often need it. There is also some other thing that I bought. There was a lady with the beautiful buttons, and I bought a pair of, not a pair, I bought seven pieces of these lovely buttons with these flamingos. They are really beautiful. I think they will be very good with either this greenish blue. I have some alpaca, or with white. I am intending to make a cardigan with it. And then there were some, there is Rowan pattern, got the free pattern. There is Bordastricken magazine. Didn't really see anything that I would like, but if you take a look, I would like to make, not maybe that long, but the sweater like this for the winter. And there was some quite chunky, oh, this one is also nice. This is cabled cardigan. Yeah, some things for the children. This is a nice hat. I should be making hats more. I don't, they are really nice, some children patterns, shawl, and then this is also nice, tunic. So yeah, we'll see. The thing is that I have troubles following German instructions. Although I understand everything, but I'm so used to following English patterns that even in my own native language, which is Croatian, I just cannot follow the pattern, unfortunately. And there is this also pattern book from Rowan, and I found here very nice cardigan with these squares which have letters in them. I find that really cute. And yeah, also another Rowan patterns. They have very nice colorful designs. This sweater is really nice. This cardigan, sorry. So yes, and there were some other things. I don't know. This is something to wash the yarn with, and love in every stitch. Don't know what it is. Let's open it. So Schneidersnit. I don't know what it is. Oh, it's a label. It says love in every stitch. So yeah, cute. yes, so I didn't stay long. I didn't buy much. I think those two were did cost me it was less than 20 euros per skein, so $20. So dollar and euros, American dollar and euros came close together, and this one was 24 euros. So didn't spend too much. The buttons were 2.5 euros per piece. And yeah, the day was hot. It was cool inside because there was air conditioning. But when we went outside, it was quite hot. And we are hoping for rain for so long. But it's just, today it's cloudy, but the rain is not coming. And yeah. This weekend I also finished this sweater. This is of course Ranunculus. No need to introduce this pattern. It is a very known one, and this is the fourth one that I made. It's a little bit cropped for me. My belly button is here, so maybe better for the dresses, not with pants. Maybe I should wear a white one underneath, would be nicer. But the particular thing is that the yarn I made it with was dyed by myself, and it is the Holst mix of cotton and the merino. It's 55% merino, 45% cotton. It's called Kunst. I have here silver gray skein, but I dyed this ecru color because it was the shade of the white that I don't think matches very well with my skin. And the dye I used are these two dyes. So it's just to see this purple, red and blue, and it's a textile farbe, so it's a German dye. I ordered from Amazon. And actually I wasn't planning to dye this at all. I was dyeing a jacket because I'm interested lately in a little bit of refashioning, and I was trying to dye some old jackets. So I had this very, very light pink jacket that I dyed purple, and we'll see what I'm going to do with it. I maybe add some embellishments or something else. It's still a work in progress. I'm not going to show it to you, but then I felt sorry to throw that dye away without using it more. So I remember that I had these skeins of Holst white ecru that I'm not going to use. And then I dyed two skeins, two balls, thinking that that would be enough for the ranunculus, but it wasn't, because you see that I had to dye some more, and you see exactly, you know, the change here, because this was wound in a ball, and this was dyed, sorry, my dog wants to go out, and this was dyed with the yarn unwound, so it took more color. I really like how it has this beautiful marled effect, and as you can see, I finished the sleeves. I stopped here, I finished the sleeves, and then I finished the neckline, and the neckline is the only modification that I did compared to the written pattern. I made a provisional cast on because I was not sure about the neckline, and this is something I really don't like about this pattern, because this neckline, the ribbing is looking quite overstretched to me. So I was looking to do something else with it. So I made the provisional cast on and then went back and just raised it a little bit, and took smaller needles and just make this roll hem, you know. And maybe I did take decreased too much. It could have been more open for the summer, but I don't mind. I like it this way as well. The only thing, maybe this part should be more variegated, but I don't mind, you know, it makes my waist look a little bit narrower, which is a good thing. I knitted this with the yarn held double, of course, and needle numbers were 6.5. I think I have them here. I also tried to do, these are Knit Pro Symphony needles. I tried to do them, to do the sleeves with double pointed needles, but it just didn't work out. The stitches were slipping out of it. So I gave up and then continued with the magic loop, and this is these circulars. I really like them. And then that was mainly knitted in Netherlands, where I spent my vacation, just me and my husband and the dog. We rented bikes. We were at the north of Netherlands, rented e-bikes and were driving around because at the place where we were staying, dogs were not allowed, unfortunately, so we couldn't go to the beach. Except one day we went to an island called Vlieland, and there we were also, it's funny because the cars are not allowed to the island, only if you have a special license and only for the people who live there and for deliveries, but there are so many nice bike paths, really, you know, bike routes in Netherlands are sometimes better than car streets, I mean, used for motor vehicles in many countries. Wonderful. And it's mostly flat, so you can drive without too much effort, so it was no problem for us to drive about 50-60 kilometers per day. And then we were swimming in the North Sea on that island that day with our dog as well. He was really very happy to run through that sand. Yeah, and then I was knitting that week. I was knitting on this pattern. And then coming backwards, I spent some time this summer in Croatia as well. I went home, left there my children with their grandparents for the summer holidays, and I was knitting on this. This is also a recognizable pattern. It is Cumulus top by PetiteKnit. I'm knitting this with, it's still unfinished. I have to do the sleeves and I-cord edging around the neck. This is knit with yarn which I bought in a factory outlet in Croatia. I'm not sure about the content, but I know that it has cashmere in it. It is also, I believe, viscose and silk and maybe cotton as well. But it is very, very soft and very nice to the touch. And yesterday when I was trying this on, it has a really, really lovely feeling to the skin. So I'm sure I'm going to wear this a lot. The pattern suggests the needles number 3 millimeters, but it looked too tight for me, so I'm knitting this with 3.5 millimeter needles, and then I went the size down. So instead of size large, which I normally wear, I am knitting medium. It's a lot of stockinette, so it's perfect if you are watching TV or something else, so you don't have to concentrate a lot. And the funny thing is, because I was flying back home and I wasn't sure if I'm going to be allowed with circular needles, the long circular needles in the plane, so I left them at home. And the funny thing is, once I was allowed to carry a knife into the cabin, and it was a quite small knife which I use to do my nails, you know, and I really, it has a bottle opener on one side, on the other side. and I forgot that I had this in my bag. And when I was shocked when they found it in the security control. But I say, oh, they measured it. I say, oh, it's fine. It's less than 6 centimeters, so you can take it. And my daughter had forgotten the scissors, and those were like mostly plastic children's scissors, but this cutting part was longer than 6 centimeters, so she had to throw them away, and she was very sorry. And she said, it's not fair, you can carry a knife and I'm not allowed to carry my scissors. So I left these are the needles at home. But I ordered the new pair immediately when I arrived back home, but I couldn't wait for them, so I started to knit on metal needles, the same size the metal needles, and I had a feeling that the gauge was different. And when I look at it, I still see this stripe of like 4 or 5 rows where it's not visible like this. Maybe it's only me who sees this. And then I stopped and decided to wait for the wooden needles, but I noticed that I'm faster with metal needles. I normally prefer wooden needles, but I'm realizing that it's better for wool, and for the cotton yarns maybe, only in my opinion, metal needles would be better, because I was knitting much faster. So yeah, I hope to finish this week. We'll see, depends on the quantity of work. My work is unpredictable, so it's event driven. I never know if it's going to be very intense or a little bit less intense. It's always intense, but sometimes it's very intense. So yeah, looking forward to finishing this while it's still summer. And then the last thing I made are these. No, I made another thing which I don't have here to show. Never mind. These socks were made in 3 different countries. They were made in Germany, in Croatia, and I started them on Easter holidays in Croatia. I started them and then I was knitting in Germany, and then in Paris as well, because I visited Paris for the first time in May this year, and it was fantastic. I highly recommend, if you haven't been and if you can afford it and plan it, to go. I'm still under impression from that visit, even after 3 months, and I didn't want to go. I was postponing that trip for a long time, because we were planning to visit my husband's sister. She works as a tourist guide in France, and we were planning to visit her for so long, and every time either something happened or I wasn't very keen on going there, because I fear crowds, and there were some other things happening, and yeah, I didn't want to go, but yeah, I'm sorry now. But this time we really had to plan this trip before she was leaving for another country. She plans to spend a couple of years in the Netherlands, so for a master degree, and then yeah, we said it's now or never. And it's very beautiful because we had the benefit of professional guide for the 4 or 5 days that we were there. And it's really enchanting. I mean, all these, the food is excellent. I don't know, the quality of food is so much better than in Germany. I mean, in Germany you have, when you eat in restaurants, you have, you receive value for money. I mean, you receive the plates are quite sizable, and you rarely leave hungry at a German restaurant. And the food is great. I mean, it's good. It's not so bad, but French is, I mean, fantastic. The taste, the fruit and vegetables taste so much better. And I think it's because it's raised in the nature, in their farms, full in the sun and not in some artificial environment. So yeah, and all these perfumes and fashion, and you know, we met, she has some friends who took us to an art exhibition, so it was really, really lovely. And I was planning to knit there, but I just couldn't. I took a project where I had to hold one strand of mohair with some other yarn, and I was making so many mistakes because at very late evenings when we reached the hotel, I was too tired to knit and I couldn't concentrate. And then I took a pair of these, I took a sock for one day when we were walking around the town. So when we had breaks from the walking and visiting monuments, I was knitting on the sock. And I think, I believe there is a photo of me taken near the Eiffel Tower where my kids were having their photo shoot, and I was waiting for them to finish, and I was knitting on this sock, and my husband took the picture. I don't have sock blockers, as you see. I have just a cardboard cut in the piece of the foot, because I don't know why, but these sock blockers are so expensive. I don't understand how, and I don't really need them that often, so I didn't order the sock blockers. I started these with 68 stitches, which is normally the number of stitches you would use for larger feet. But I wanted the sock to be a little bit longer, so there where my calves and my legs are starting to be a little bit bigger, I casted on more stitches, and here I still have the stitch marker where I decreased to 64, so I decreased by 4 stitches. The mistake, I mean, it's not really a mistake, but if I would do it again, I would do it differently. I wouldn't decrease all 4 stitches in the same row. I would maybe decrease 2 here and 2 a little bit lower here. Because this jog where I took 4 stitches off, it's a little bit visible, but now when it's stretched, I don't see it. I love this color. It's really, really nice. It's a classical Regia sock yarn, German sock yarn. If you can see the heel, this is the first time I knit this type of heel and flap. Yeah, flap, how it's called, flap and gusset. So it's these 3 sections you're making here. This ribbing is achieved by slipping stitches in between, then you knit this part here, and then you pick stitches. It's quite an interesting construction, and it fits me well. I usually knit socks with fish lips kiss heel. And this one I learned from a lovely lady who has a YouTube tutorial. I will link it down below. It was really, really helpful for me. So I used her tutorial when I knitted on both these heels. So the last thing I did, it was my third make of Lily Kate makes the one that I want crop. It was made of lilac cotton yarn, but I have a feeling for my daughter, I have a feeling she's not wearing it. Not quite happy with this, how it turned out. The first 2 that I made were lovely. This one I made without that edging, crochet edging, and I know I just didn't like it that much as I liked the first versions that you can see in my previous podcasts. So what else? I have some other acquisitions. The funny thing is, when we arrived to Netherlands, we were actually in a tourist resort. We rented a little small wooden house, the mobile house, how would you call it? It's like in a camping, but those little small houses that has just they have just a little bit of a garden around. And the town, the actual town was 2-3 kilometers away. So the first day we went to town, we were looking for a parking, and then the only parking place which was available in the center, my husband parked there, and when I looked, it was just across the yarn store, so I call it a happy parking place. But the yarn store was closed on that day, so the next day I came back, and I just couldn't resist. You know I have a lot of yarn, but this color really spoke to me. It's a little bit on the autumn side, so I think it's going to be lovely for the autumn. It is Katia concept Polynesia, I would maybe pronounce it in English. And let me see what is the content of this. It's 56% cotton, 22% linen, and 22% viscose, 50 grams. Have 165 meters or 180 yards. Recommended needle size is 3.5 millimeters to 4.5, which is USA 5 to 7. Recommended quantity for a short-sleeved t-shirt, female size 42, which is my size, is 5, and she had only 4. And I bought all 4, so I said, okay, where is the 4th one? Yeah, I bought a 4th and say it's going to be cropped tee. So I'm looking for a pattern. If you have a nice cropped tee, simple cropped tee pattern, let me know. There's a lady whose podcast I like to watch. She has a knitting channel called This Orange Couch, and she knits really nice tees. So maybe I should go back to one of her latest episodes. She had a lot of these summer tees, and I made this little swatch. I usually don't bind or wash my swatches. I just look on my needles, stretch it just a little bit, measure it, and then I just unravel what I made to use it for the project. Here I have to save, I think, every centimeter of the yarn. So we'll see. This is going to be my next project together with the Cumulus stuff, my PetiteKnit. So thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon, and stay well and take care. Bye.